let's talk about generating URLs. Routing system do two things. First, it associates URLs with controllers. Second, it generates URLs for a given route. Because of URLs generating, we cannot do hard code in HTML templates. So, if we need to change some route, we can do it at once in the route configuration. After that, all links will be updated. To generate a URL, you need to define the name of the route and the value of the parameters if they are included in the route. If you don't set the route name, Symfony automatically generates it based on the controller and action. We can generate URLs in controllers, services, commands, Twig templates, JavaScript. Let's figure it out. Let's back to the controller. Here I deleted all actions. Also I deleted all the route configurations that I made before. So let's create two new actions. And now I want to show you how to generate URL in the Twig template. You can also pass the route argument as the optional second parameter. For example, as you can see, we used double curly. In Twig templates, it's used to display the content of a variable or the result of evaluating an expression. And then to generate relative URLs, we used the pass function, where the route name is the first argument, here it, and the route parameters is the second argument. Here it. For example, if you need to render templates for emails and because of that you need to generate absolute URLs, you can use URL function instead of pass function. It takes the same arguments. If you use JavaScript code in a Twig template, you can generate URLs using pass or URL functions and then store it in JavaScript variables. I'll show the example how it works. The escape filter is needed to escape any non-JavaScript safe values. If you want to generate URLs in controller, it should be extends from abstract controller. And then you can use generate URL function. I'll show the example. The first argument of the function is the road name. The second optional argument is array with road parameters. And the third one is also optional argument. In this case, it says that we generate absolute URL. By the way, generated URLs are absolute by default. In the generate URL function, you can set local value. By default, it will be the current request local. If you pass to the generate URL function extra parameters, they will be included in the generated URL as a query string. I'll show it. Keep in mind that if you are passing an object as value of an extra parameter, you need explicitly convert it to a string. You can generate URLs in services and then fetch it in your controller. Also, you can generate URLs in Commons. It works the same as generating URLs in services. But there is one thing that you should know. Commands are not executed in the HTTP context. So, if you will generate absolute URLs instead of real host name, you'll get localhost. Because of that, you need to define the request context used by commands and configure the default URI option. I'll show how to do it. By default, the URLs generated for web assets use the same default URI value, but you can change it using asset request context base path and asset request context secure. If you need to check if a route exists before using it to generate a URL, you can try to generate the URL and catch the route not found exception that will be thrown when the route doesn't exist. When we generate the URL, it will have the same schema as the current request. We can redefine it globally with these configuration parameters. If you need to redefine schema for each route explicitly, you can use schemas option. If you will try to access this URL with HTTP, you will be automatically redirected to the same URL but with HTTPS schema. Also, you can define the default schema for a group of routes when you importing them.
In this case, all routes defined as annotations will use HTTPS schema. I hope you enjoy this video and see you next time.